So, it's quite clear to me that some clarifications are in order. I've been having conversations over the past few days with some of my fellow British citizens, and I don't like to say it, but there's a very noticeable lack of understanding on the subject of the UK's debts and related subject matter. Okay, first and foremost, the UK's national debt is not the private debt accumulated by UK citizens or residents. No. It's money borrowed by the government through issue of securities. As part of the government's expenditure, it has to pay off interest on this national debt, which in the financial year 2016-2017 came to about £39 billion. Quite a lot of money. Okay, terms you might not have heard before. Gilt, as in gilt-edged securities. These are government bonds. Basically, a promise to repay money at a fixed interest rate. Another term, quantitative easing. This is where a central bank, in our case the Bank of England, creates new money to buy up government bonds, buy up debt or other assets. And this is done with the goals of meeting targets on inflation, getting people to spend more money. It's monetary policy which makes it easier or cheaper for businesses to raise capital, makes banks more willing to grant loans. It's a strategy for stimulating the economy. But back to the issue of debt. National debt, the overall national debt, is not the same as the budget deficit. A deficit is where the government spends more money than it receives. Its outgoings are more than it brings in revenue. This can obviously add to the existing debt, but it isn't the debt itself. A budget surplus is where the government spends less than it takes in revenue. Yeah. You may well have heard politicians or just people generally arguing about austerity. Seems to be some confusion amongst people I've spoken to recently about what austerity is. It's economic policies aimed at stabilising public finances, so think cuts, wage cuts, reductions in government spending. It's worth stating that different definitions of austerity exist. It's a more complex picture than my simple view I'm putting forward here. I'm not an economist. The Conservatives, let us remember, they said they would, in 2010, eliminate the deficit by the financial year 2015-2016. This forecast was pushed back, and back, and back again, and then abandoned last year. Yeah. It's estimated that UK national debt increases by £1.4 billion a week. So, where are we now? Or, where were we, should I say? As of July 2016, a year ago, according to the Office of National Statistics, UK national debt stands at about £1.6 trillion, which is almost 84% of gross domestic product. So, yes. We have a large national debt and it is growing. What is the makeup of the national debt? A significant percentage will be owed to foreign governments, as well as foreign investors, private investors. Much of the debt will be pension funds. The truth is, though, British governments have an impeccable record of repaying debts. Loans to Her Majesty's government are seen as safe bets, historically. However, many are predicting a future crisis, possibly bigger than the financial crisis that we suffered less than 10 years ago. A new possible recession is on the horizon, some are saying. Yes. We shall see. We shall see.